Rodgers says he has an mRNA allergy, so he didn't want to take Moderna or Pfizer. I don't think he named them, but he said the two. That's what he was referring to. And he had trepidation about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, which I understand it's not quite as effective, and there have been certain issues, though rare. I understand. And if he has his own doctor saying, hey, you could have a bad event if you take these other two, I understand that too. He was willing to go through protocols, so he's willing to pay the price for his choice. And okay, I get that. He was talking about common sense about masks at press conferences. Actually, there's been debate about that, legitimate debate around the science of that, and some people think the CDC is lagging here. And okay, Aaron, I'm still with you. He believes the NFL is making certain moves out of appearances, for the sake of appearances, kind of politically, and he doesn't want to be a part of a culture that appeases the woke mob, so to speak. Okay, Aaron, I hear that too. Then he talks about he does an alternative therapy to become immunized. Let's table that for a second, because he says he wants conversation, not controversy. Okay, Aaron, I'm in. Let's have a conversation. I think you make some legitimate points, except there's one giant omission here. What was the therapy? He refused to say what it was, and that's the whole shooting match here. Everything else is smoke and mirrors, because I can't have a conversation if the science that he is claiming has immunized him hasn't been independently evaluated publicly. You have to make it public if you're claiming you're immunized. Now, it does mean if he believes he was immunized, he wasn't lying. It's not a lie if you believe it's true. But it may mean that he's wrong. I suspect he is wrong, but I don't know, because he won't give the science behind the therapy. So then we can have a conversation. We can evaluate if it's legitimate. Independent medical professionals, peer-reviewed journals, right, can look at it. Were there randomized controlled tests? Were there large sample sizes? Right, so everything, guys, my reaction is, Aaron, I hear you, but hear me. We can't have a conversation if we don't know what the therapy was. Graz?
Max, I think you're being extremely kind to Aaron Rodgers. I think that was a rant that went off the rails several times, divorced from reality at almost every turn, in a forum where he knew he was not going to face critical questioning. And that's what we saw. So let's strip away the persecution complex and the conspiracy, theorist talking points and talk about what actually happened here. It's an unvaccinated player, so he's subject to the NFL's rules for unvaccinated players. He doesn't like those rules, so he's decided to push back against them in certain ways and obviously rail against them in this interview. So fundamentally, he's in a situation where, because he violated the rules, which he knew he was doing, he has to sit out for 10 days. Because he tested positive, which he knew was a possibility when he made the choice not to get vaccinated, he has to sit out for 10 days. He has to miss a game, and possibly two, if he doesn't get cleared in time for next week's Seattle game, in a season where his team is trying to win the Super Bowl and get the first round bye, all that kind of stuff. So whatever anybody wants to say about all the stuff he said, which I just feel is just something we don't need to give airtime to, the fact of the matter is he knew the rules, whether he liked them or not, decided to put himself in this position where he's going to miss games, and it's a selfish decision that hurts his team.
Nick?
Well, look, there's rules in place. If I wanted to drive 100 miles an hour on the interstate and the speed limit 65, well, guess what? If I was pulled over, I would have a ticket because of the rules. So we live in a society where if you are playing in the NFL, they have a specific thing that they put out there because of protocols, and there's vaccinated, unvaccinated players, and you respect their decision to either be vaccinated, unvaccinated, whatever it is. But with those rules in place, you would have to abide by those rules. That's just what we do living in society. We abide by rules. If you don't abide by the rules, there has to be consequences. And in this particular situation, you can't live beyond the rules that are made because, you're the starting quarterback, or you make a lot of money, or you are the Hall of Fame, future Hall of Fame player. I think that if you are a fifth-round draft pick or the backup, you have to go by the same rules as the starting quarterback, especially in this particular matter, because there are players involved and there's other people involved that possibly are going to miss time. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be there. This team is on a roll, and they might not be on a roll anymore.
Nink, I hear you, and Graz, I hear you. I would say, Graz, I don't mind engaging with people who are underinformed or misinformed. They have bad information, sometimes disinformation, meaning it's intentionally bad. People want to mislead others. Because I think it's important to counter conspiracies with facts. Okay, so and Nink, in terms of rules following, as far as I could understand, he followed protocols. He was willing to pay that price. What he didn't do, the instance that he didn't follow the rules, was masks indoors at a press conference. Okay, that's one instance of not following a rule. Yes, Graz.
He's not supposed to be at that Halloween party either.
And the Halloween, that's a good point. Also the Halloween party.
Players.
I get it. What I am still most interested in, and I understand both of your points, is, Aaron, if you want a conversation, I think you have to make public what the therapy was, so that you can't just have a kind of righteously indignant point of view toward the rest of the world about this, and you're very put upon. It can be independently evaluated. The science can be independently evaluated, and we'll know if maybe you're talking some sense or if you are following quackery. It's that simple.
But there's a wide range right here, right now. Every player and every professional has a guy, right? A guru, somebody that helps them. And
I can evaluate whether he's a quack or not with some help.
Give me 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, I'll feel great.
Yeah.
You know, so those are things that either they go against science, they do, they don't, whatever it is.
Randomized controlled trials and large sample sizes, et cetera. There's a method to this. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.